Dear Vince, my name is Ryan DiBiase. You might remember me from a few years ago when I used to send you storyline ideas to your office, and you used to send me these nice little letters. Look at this one, dated November 1997. Certified mail. I had to sign for this one at the post office with the logo from August 6th, 2003. Dear Mr. DiBiase, this is in response to the letter you sent on May 22nd, 2003. We do not solicit or use outside people. Anything having to do with character development, storylines, or in-ring activities is handled exclusively by our talent relations department. Enclosed is the original material you submitted. You know how I felt, Vince, when I got those letters in the mail? I felt like Clark Griswold when he was expecting his Christmas bonus check, and he opens up the letter, and what does he see? He sees a 1-year membership to the Jelly of the Month Club. But all these years later, I still care about your product, Vince, and 2014, let's do it again. On behalf of PyroandBallyhoo.com, dear Vince. Vince, number one, less scripting, more improv. And what do I mean by less scripting, more improv? Well, you're thinking to yourself, well, wrestling is entertainment. I mean, it is scripted. What are you talking about? Well, because wrestlers, they're not actors. Going by that logic, I think, just like they did in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s, improv. Go off the cuff. Cut promos off the cuff. Give them bullet points. And honestly, if they can't deal with bullet points and they can't make it work, unfortunately, I'd have to cut bait with that talent. More realistic dialogue, just more realistic, believable dialogue, not just in the ring, but the backstage pre-tapes. These backstage pre-tapes are insulting everyone's intelligence. They are so I don't even care. I'm not in the business. I can use the word. They are so freaking fake. I just my head wants to explode. It's just the pre-tapes in general, the settings. What happened to the Attitude Era when pre-tapes were in innovative, unique settings? Whatever happened to the backstage limo arrival? Whatever happened to the intrigue backstage? Now everything is basically in Hunter's office or the backstage area, which isn't even the backstage area or Hunter's office. It's basically just I know what it is. It's just a bunch of boom lights and a curtain draped behind you and a couple promotional pictures of the video game behind. That's not backstage. That's a contrived, it actually fits the dialogue. It's a contrived fake setting to go along with the contrived fake dialogue. Many of the pre-tapes years ago were outdoors. Remember Crash Holly? I remember was in the Barnum and Bailey Circus outside of the Philadelphia Spectrum. Pre-tapes with The Rock in Austin by a river, throwing a belt in the river. Not a money issue because you guys have more money now coming in, your corporate publicly traded company, to film a backstage or a creative pre-tape. What is the reason? Is it just laziness or complacency? Because I don't really understand. I think there should be more creativity in the pre-tapes. I think it's a big overlooked thing. All right. Also, Vince, another thing that I need to tell you: we need to have real reactions. And by real reactions, I basically mean, how would a Brie Bella react in a situation when something negative happened to her in real life? Take Brie Bella aside, or take anyone in a similar angle aside, and say, how would you react if this were to happen to you? Matter of fact, let me ask you a question, Brie Bella, or let me ask you a question, Nikki Bella. If your boyfriend cheated on you, if the girl's right in front of you, the girl that your boyfriend or husband cheated on you with is right in front of you, how are you going to react to that? How do you sound? How do you sound when you're angry, Brie? Brie, let me hear you when you get angry. Because I can guarantee you, Brie Bella, angry does not sound anything like Brie Bella angry on WWE TV in 2014. So my point is, Vince, I want more real, authentic, emotional reactions. I guess some people can't do that because, like I said, wrestlers aren't actors, but there just has to be some sort of understanding of how a real person or a real woman or a real man reacts when pushed to the brink. It seems as if in today's WWE TV, the narrative is so choppy that you really can't get into the storyline of the show. I mean, you see a little bit here, a little bit there, then nothing, and then a cold match, and then a little bit more story, and not really anything, maybe a match, not quite a cold match, but maybe something. Used to have a show, a 2-hour show, which started with an angle, and it built and built and built throughout the show until it reached the overrun, and then there was the payoff. And if there wasn't a payoff, it was a hook to get you watching next week. Vince, I think there needs to be a creative overhaul, and by that I mean you're going to have to make a hard decision. It's very hard to say. I don't think I could do it, honestly, because I'm a softie at heart. And if my daughter was, I don't have a daughter, but if my daughter was head of creative, I think, is that her role still? I'm not sure. I think Stephanie is still head of creative. It would be a very tough call to make. I wouldn't fire Stephanie. She's a hard worker. There's 1,000,001 other things she could do, including still be an on-air talent with Hunter. I think the entire system needs to change and be reduced. Creative needs to be reduced. I don't think the 3,700-man creative team is working. I think it inhibits the process. I think it prevents a lot of younger mid-card guys from receiving storylines and angles because a lot of the focus is placed on the top. I think you need to go with a smaller creative unit, maybe 2 to 3 people. It needs to be One Direction, not the awful band, the like literal One Direction. One Direction, one aim, and one focus, and you can't achieve that with 3,700 writers. Put the 3,700 writers on a bus and drive the bus into a ravine, sort of like Back to the Future when the ravine. My last suggestion: when I was 10 years old, I damn sure wasn't allowed to stay up till 11 p.m. on a school night, on a Monday night. So who is watching and being entertained by a segment that is aimed at kids at 10:45 to 11 o'clock at night? There's a problem. There's a definite big problem there. What demographic is it that is it because of DVR? Are kids watching on DVR the next day? Doesn't make any sense to book kid-like childish segments at 11 o'clock at night or 11:05 at night when they're not even up. I don't understand that. Because your audience at 10:30 to 11:15 are adults, the male demo that you lost. So, to me, this is what you should do, Vince. This is what you should do. You've lost a lot of your 18 to 35 male demo from the Attitude Era. They're gone. They're watching something else. I don't know what they're watching, or they're fiddling with their smartphone. You know the smartphones, Vince? Do you have one? You've got a smartphone. I'm sure you do. You go on the Protein app. Is there such a thing as a Protein app? I don't know. But if there's a Protein app, you would probably be on the Protein app. Make the story more intriguing, more thought-provoking, something that is attractive to an older demographic, an older audience. You shouldn't have kiddie type things and cookie cutter angles. I mean, perfect example, you ended the show with Rusev. You ended the show last week with Rusev and Mark Henry, the USA versus Russia angle. What 30-year-old or 25-year-old, the only people who are up at that time are going to be intrigued by that? Is there really like a 28-year-old just sitting there on the edge of his seat, waving the American flag and just like pounding his chest and yay, go America! We're gonna crush Russia and Rusev. And no, I don't think there's anyone. I don't even think there's a kid. If the kids were up, if they have bad parents and the kids are still up at 11 because they have awful parents, I don't even think the kids care about that angle. So that's what I think, Vince. You should cater to the older demographic in the final segments of the show. I hope you listen to me. I hope I don't get another Jelly of the Month Club letter. Please don't send me another Jelly of the Month Club letter like you did in 1997 And then we see in 2003, these are my ideas. They're not specific storyline ideas, so hopefully no Jelly of the Month Club letter. But thank you, Vince. And I care deeply about the product, just like Vince Russo does. And I really, really want the show to improve because the WWE is such an ingrained part of my childhood and young adult life too. And it's like being with a sports team. You stick with them during the bad times and the good times. And in my opinion, it is most definitely a bad time to be a viewer. That's my opinion, and I hope you listen. Thank you, Vince.